Okay, so I'm just gonna start off by doing this. Have some water, have some pre-workout. So I actually already recorded one of these videos that was actually an hour long. Obviously I was gonna cut that, but I realized that I fucked up some settings on my camera, so it looked shit. So I'm doing it again. And I don't know how I'm gonna structure these really, because right now this is just gonna be a video and not like a podcast. But the idea, by the way, is that it looks really good when you're using like a seafood bottle. Is that I'm gonna do a podcast with a friend. I have a person in mind that I already asked him, but he's thinking about it, how he like, if it's possible to do it like once a week, which I would want to do at least, like starting off doing once a week, and then I don't know. But the idea is that you do a normal podcast for the first 30 minutes of the podcast, and then like for the second half, you take something like this, pick it up, and you drink it. So this is pre-workout. Basically, if you don't work out and you have no clue what I'm talking about here, this is basically a powder, and it has a lot of caffeine and other supplements in it that makes you like really, really hyper for working out. So you take it before so you can have a good workout. And basically the idea is that I'm not gonna do it now because I don't want to make an hour-long like podcast by myself. But the idea is that we do a normal podcast, talk shit to each other, talk about random stuff. I don't know exactly how we're gonna do that. We're gonna come up with something, and then after that, like midway through, somewhere around there, we're gonna take this, gonna get really hyper, and when we feel like it's starting to really like itch, because when you take this and it has a lot of beta-alanine in it, it's gonna like almost feel like your skin is crawling. It's a really hard like feeling to explain. It's almost like you're tingly, but you really like just need to lift something heavy, because that's the blood flow of doing that is the only way that you're gonna get it like to go away. Or just wait, but that makes you fucking go insane. So we're gonna do that and then like work out afterwards. But also, I have a really like high standard of what I would want to have as a like co-host, because I've done like my own sort of podcast before when I was just talking shit, and for the people who's watched that shit, like shout out to you, because that's like, yeah, it wasn't as easy to sit through. Like the camera was shit, probably wasn't as good as talking. I can't even talk now apparently, so I guess I was better at talking back then. I was saying as good at talking. And in English especially, since I'm actually Swedish, even though I'm really like quickly losing my Swedish. I like probably like 50 times a day I have to ask someone like for a word in Swedish, but I know it in English, so that's different. But I basically only had like 4 people in mind that could be relevant to this. And that possibly, like, most of them don't even have time, but also I needed someone that speaks pretty good English, someone I can talk shit to, and also someone that's good at holding conversations, because that's an actual skill. I don't think I'm like really good at holding conversations. I'm just really fucking good at talking and not stopping. So I'm actually gonna have to learn how to be a conversationalist, where I stop and I listen. Because that's obviously one of my problems with me just talking to a camera, because I'm the only one doing the talking. But also, I've realized when I watch people that I think are really fucking entertaining, usually on their own podcast when they're alone, I get quite bored. Which is kind of weird, right? But it's just the fact that even though I love Chris D'Elia, for example, I love when he goes on any other podcast than his own, and he has someone to just do skits, do bits with, and just fuck around and talk shit and all that, do characters and shit. It's fucking amazing. But when he's doing it on his own podcast and he's alone, it just isn't as entertaining, and I just find myself getting bored after a while. So that's why I can't really, like, in good conscience, do the same thing. And I want to have a co-host because it's also more fun for me to do it. Because I could talk shit like this for a long time, but after a while I'm just rambling. I'm not talking about anything. And fuck, the camera doesn't have a lot of battery. So I might just like get cut off in the middle of this and have to fix that, but who knows. So yeah, I don't know. So I have these 4 people in mind. One of them right now, don't know if he's gonna be watching this, is like kind of traveling all over the place for his new job, which seems to be sick, by the way. But we used to like have really long conversations even when we were really young, like probably in like 6th grade. Like really weird that we had that amount of attention span at that point. Then also I have the other 3 from people I learned, like came to know through my like PT licensing practice. Is that how you say it? The school you go to for becoming a licensed personal trainer, I guess. And one of them has like his own, he has like 3 jobs basically. So I couldn't in good conscience like pull him away to do something else as well. The other one is a full-time personal trainer, and the third one, well, he's pretty much as unemployed as I am. So he's the one I've been talking to, and we'll see if he wants to do it or not. But yeah, I don't know. I've been wanting to do a podcast like for so long, and it's kind of annoying that I waited. Like, it's really annoying actually, because everyone has a podcast now. Everyone. And I feel like a lot of people are gonna watch this and be like, you're just jumping on the train. And then, I mean, to some extent I am, but also I was wanting to jump on the train about 5 years ago, before it was a big thing. I mean, it was big, but it's way bigger now. Like, okay, so as you can tell, I'm definitely a professional. The camera definitely didn't die. So what was I saying? Podcasts are so much bigger now, like insane. In 2019, like, I would actually want to know how many podcasts there is out there. There has to be like million, maybe not millions yet. You think, like, are we in the millions yet, or are we still in like a couple 100,000? I don't know, it's kind of hard to judge, because there's so many that, like, aren't famous. Obviously, when we think of podcasts, we think of Joe Rogan, we think of The Fire and the Kid, we think of maybe Tiger Belly, Your Mom's House, Theo Vaughn, Chris D'Elia. At least those are the ones I think about. But also, there's people who do podcasts who are even smaller channels than mine. And I mean, obviously this isn't a podcast channel, and I'm not sure, like, I thought about this earlier, like, if I should do a separate YouTube for that, but also, if I do that, then there's only gonna be 1 video a week on this channel, and then 1 video a week on that channel, because I can't produce more than 2 a week. But also, it might be easier, like, do you guys think that, or do you guys want to have this sort of format right now? Obviously, it would be about an hour and not half an hour, like this probably is somewhere, I don't know how long this is going to be, obviously, but it's probably going to be around half an hour. and I wouldn't start drink this until we were like halfway in, and I'm gonna have a co-host hopefully. Would you guys rather have me do that on a separate channel? Because most of you probably don't give a shit if it's not HNS. Or should I do it on this channel because this channel actually still has subscribers? Because here's the thing, even though this channel has 632 subscribers, which, I mean, depending how you look at it, it's a lot. It's a lot of people. Like 630 people is fucking a lot of people. But also in terms of subscribers on YouTube, it's not that much. But it's fucking way more than zero. And when I say way more than zero, then obviously like everyone's like, yeah, it's fucking 630 more. Of course. But the thing is, on YouTube, getting your first 100 subs is way harder than getting your first 1,000 subs. And I'm not even at the 1,000 yet. So, I mean, like, is it gonna be beneficial to do the podcast on this channel, even though some people might not like it? Or should I just start another channel where, like, obviously the only people who's gonna watch it are gonna, like, be people who's interested, but also, like, I don't know how many people would subscribe to that, like, right away. It would take such a long time that I don't know if it's, like, realistic. I don't know. And also, if I do get a co-host, obviously I have to talk with them about it, but in the end it's kind of my idea, so we'll see. Like, I don't want to be a dictator or anything like that, but also, if I'm doing the editing and it's my idea, I want to be able to choose if it's on my channel or we make another channel. Either way, we're gonna like split it, obviously, but split what, you're asking? Well, obviously, in the beginning, nothing. But, like, down the line, maybe something, who knows? Like, obviously, well, yeah, something. Don't know how much, but something. But, I don't know if it's gonna be, like, it's not really gonna be, like, 100% fitness related, even though I would call it like the pre-workout podcast or PWO podcast. Like the idea of it, it's like, yeah, that's training centric, and we're gonna go and work out after every podcast. Not that I think we're gonna film that, but just like, if you drink this, you're gonna want to work out. But also, like, there's going to be a lot of talk about exercise and stuff like that, since if it's the guy I'm talking to right now, who's gonna do it with me, it's going to be a lot of shit talk about working out, because we both went to the same, like, education to get our PT license, and he's also, like, been running a gym for a couple of years. He doesn't do it anymore, but he did do it earlier, so like, in general, we both have a lot of knowledge when it comes to working out, even though we both have a lot of knowledge when it comes to working out, but he definitely has way more when it comes to, like, selling and stuff like that, and when it comes to running a gym, which I think is really fucking interesting. But I'm not, like, trying to say that I know anything about that. I don't. Like, I only read things about it, so I have no, like, practice in it. Which, like, that's something we would talk about as well. But, like, who knows? Really don't know how I'm gonna edit this, to be honest. Like, the last one I did, it was an hour long, and I cut it down. I didn't do the entire edit because I realized that it's not gonna be good enough to my standards, because I accidentally, like, bumped up the sharpness to way too high on the camera. And for people that don't know a lot about, like, some fancier cameras. This isn't the fanciest camera. It's a Canon M50. It's like a starter camera for people who get into camera work, but it's still like a good camera. But basically, for an average person, you would probably think like more sharpness means better. Like a sharper image is a better image, pretty much. And you want a sharp image, but when you have the type of sharpness you have in these cameras where they have digital sharpening, it's not really 100% what you think. It's more that it's gonna sharpen all the lines, like the line from my chair to the wall, the line in my hair, the line from my arm to the back here, and it becomes super like rugged and sharp, like way too much if you have it on like a really high setting. So it just looked really shitty, and you can see that in some of my older videos as well, and that's why they look shitty, because when the camera the camera out of box already has the sharpness bumped up a lot, so you have to pull it down. And for some reason I was fucking around with it and just forgot to put bump it down again. But now it should be way better. And also I'm using cinema style for people that know anything about color grading in cameras. Not gonna explain exactly everything, but basically it takes away a lot of color in the picture, and then you add the color back in the editing afterwards. And I did this for a couple videos and I think it looks a lot better, but I turned it off because it's harder to do when you're like out and about and just like filming stuff in the gym, and I was doing a lot more of that and turned it off. But now it's back on, so we're gonna see how that looks, but who knows. And also, I don't know how I'm gonna like do these videos, because if I have a co-host, that's a lot easier. Like, sure, we can get some points we can write down, like just like maybe we had a thought about this and we wanted to talk about it, and like write maybe 3 things down. I don't fucking know, but we can still bounce off each other and think and talk and come into like a different conversation all the time. But when it's just me on my own, obviously I don't really have anything to like bounce off of. Like right now I'm talking to the person watching this. What's up, dude? Or girl? Probably not. I think I have like a 98 I think I have 98% of my viewers being male. I'm pretty sure. So I mean, if you're a girl watching this, shout out to you. I guess there's like a few of you, maybe, kind of, I don't know. Like 1 out of 100, 2 out of 100, yeah. But also, like, I'm still talking to a camera even though I'm talking to you and pretty much like hanging out with you, is that we can't really have an entire conversation since I'm the only one doing the talking, even though I'm really good at doing that. So at least for the time being, when I'm doing this on my own, I'm gonna start like trying to write down some like different ideas to talk about. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is just like how people perceive themselves as really smart when they aren't, and that applies to me a lot, probably. Like, oh, what's it called? The Dan Kruger effect, I think. I think that's the right one. I'm not sure, yeah, don't quote me on that. But basically, you're really dumb, but you're so dumb that you think you're smart. And what that means is that you just really think you're right when you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. And that's a lot of people, including me sometimes. Like, hard to admit, but you know, obviously, yeah. Like, sometimes you're just talking out of your ass. I really, like, nowadays try to do it way less, but you know, sometimes it just happens, and you just want to figure it out and be like, okay, yeah, stop doing that. But there's so many people that truly think that they're really smart when they're not. And I find that really interesting because that makes me think like, because I perceive myself as an intelligent person, and in my head that's a fact, and nothing's gonna change that. But there's a lot of other people who I would consider probably like really fucking stupid, and they consider themselves really smart. Also, you would have to like think about what determines actual like intelligence. Like if we're just talking IQ points, then well, you can like work that out, and that's a good predictor for like success. But also, it's not 100% accurate on just intelligence. It's just memory, pattern recognition, and what's the third one? Like simple math. I think there's like a fourth one as well, because I think the math one is just like a intertwined with the pattern recognition. But yeah, it's like it's pretty good, but it's not 100% accurate. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really interested in like talking to people that I perceive to be unintelligent when they like 100% think they're like one of the smartest people they know, and it's just objectively probably not true. And I think that like you could probably make the case for everyone to do that. Like, also when it comes to intelligence, like we all have a massive ego, like a massive. I think, like I've never met a person that hasn't had it. There probably is some, but I just haven't met one. Because when I think about really intelligent people who's done a lot of like come up with a lot of inventions, done some insane things like with their mind, like obviously like the super obvious example is like Elon Musk, for example. Like he's an insanely intelligent person, but my mind is such a like has such an ego that I think I could, if I wanted to, which I don't, be able to do the same things. Which, before everyone crucifies me in the comments, I'm not saying I am as smart as someone like Elon Musk, but it's really hard it's really hard to imagine not being able to do something, because it's something like this. When you don't know something and don't understand it, you can't comprehend it. But when you do understand it, you can't stop understanding it, right? So for someone who's learned how to do something and done it a million times, who just does it, they don't think about it. They just do it. It's just, you do it like this. You probably sometime in your life had a teacher who's just really, really shitty teacher, because they know how to do everything they're talking about, but they're really bad at explaining how, because they just know how to do it. This is just how you do it like this. And you can't do it because you don't understand, and you have to learn the basics to go through it. That's something I had a really hard time with in like elementary school, where like you have to explain your calculations in your math class, especially like simple math. Like in more advanced math, I think it's easier. Like it's at least for me, it's easier to explain because I have to think about it more. But if you just do like some like calculations where you like do 9 times 9, that's 81. That's super simple. If you do 10 times 10, that's 100. Oh my god, super easy. Like, most people know that, right? But then you like keep on increasing that, and it becomes harder and harder. But for some people, it's gonna be easy. You're gonna be like, okay, well, what's 7 times 41? I'm pretty sure that's 301. But also, it could be 43, because I always like always mix those two up, those two calculations, and I would have to do the math more in my head. But well, I'm not saying I know all those calculations in my head. Those are some numbers I just remember. It's not that I did the actual calculation. But also, sometimes you just do the calculation, you're like, that's how I did it. It says in the paper, like, do 36 times 36, and then you come out to the answer, and you're like, yeah, I did 36 times 36. But you can't explain it, because they want you to say it in some other way, even though you didn't do it that way, which I found really interesting. Again, I'm going off of a tangent here. What I'm saying is that when you understand something, you can't undo it. You can't stop understanding it unless you forget. Maybe it depends how you define understanding something. Like we always say, you're not gonna learn how to ride a bike and then forget it, right? If you learn how to ride a bike, you don't do it for years, you're still gonna be able to do it later on. Like I haven't ridden a bike for I don't know, 2 years probably, 3 years, maybe even more. And I bet you that I could go out if I had a bike right now, because I don't, and just like get on a bike and just like pedal on and be bike ride, you know? But it also works like the other way around, where you don't understand something but you think you do. But I don't know how to explain this. Let me think. Yeah, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna like formulate this, but basically, you're so dumb that you don't realize you're dumb, and I already said that, and that's an easy explanation. But there's a couple of different tiers of knowledge, right? And this works differently in different fields, because we actually learned this in my personal training education. And in training, it's actually a little bit reversed to what it is when it comes to knowledge. But training knowledge, you want to have a little bit different, because you want to do some things without thinking about them. But I don't remember what the term is for this, but you basically have stairs of knowledge, okay? So at the top, you have knowledge, and you know you have the knowledge, so you're cognizant of the fact that you know what you know. Then below that you have knowledge, but you're not cognizant of the fact that you have the knowledge, as in, you know something is true, but you're not 100%, sorry, how would I explain that? You know something, you have the knowledge of something, but you doubt yourself or don't know that that's 100% correct, even though it is. Something like that. Pretty sure there's a better explanation for that, but I just can't come up with one right now. And I need to drink this faster, because I need to fucking work out. But then after that, you don't have the knowledge, but you're cognizant of the fact that you don't have the knowledge. So basically, you don't know what you're talking about, but you know that you don't know what you're talking about. So you can learn. And then at the bottom of the stairs, here's the worst one. This is the one I'm talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have the knowledge, but you also don't know that you don't have the knowledge, so you think you do. So when it comes to learning something, you're gonna be incapable of learning that thing, because you already think you know what they're talking about, even though you don't. I definitely have been like a person who's been doing that in my life a lot. especially when it came to school, which like you kind of regret afterwards. Not a lot, because ooh, that wasn't too nice. That was a weird burp. But also, you're welcome. Uh, School, as I've said before, made me hate learning things, which is insane actually. Like, when I think about it, the more I think about it, it's fucking ridiculous. Because I'm probably one of the people that I know in my life that wants to learn new things the most. I love learning new things. I truly do. Like, finding something new, like for my experience, it's mostly online. Learning that thing mostly for YouTube, honestly, because there's tutorials for everything. Like, how did I learn to edit? That was fucking YouTube, dude. I didn't go to any class. I just YouTubed everything. And I'm not the best editor, but also I'm probably better than the average person at editing. I don't know. I mean, who depends how you define it. But also, like, I truly love learning new things, especially online, but also in groups. Like, when I went to the personal training, like what it was actually called, like, in Sweden, it was called the Academy. It even has an English name, but it's like one of the best. It's actually the best ranked academy for personal training education. I think that's how you would say it. And that was probably, even though I don't work as a personal trainer right now, that's definitely gonna come and help in the future, like knowing all of this, so it wasn't a waste of money in any way. Because it helps me with my training either way, like immensely. But also, I'm gonna do all this training stuff and training programs and stuff in the future that has to do with this, and having that license is gonna help a lot. But it was probably the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, just going to the education. And yes, I'm not saying it was the most fulfilling education ever. It was way better than school, because we actually had, like, in the back of the room, we had weights and stuff. So if you had to move around, you got to move around. And also, we had a break every 1.5 hours, because your brain doesn't work in the way people want your brain to work, where you just sit like in school for 2 hours straight and just try to do efficient work. That's not how it works. So every 1.5 hours we got a short break, which made a massive difference. Even though we were there about 9 to 10 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours, I think, even, it was way easier. Like, it went by fast. But also, the education, as I said, yes, learning new things, were really fucking excited, but also it was a basic education, because you have to have the basics first. And since my mom is a personal trainer and my dad is a chiropractor, I knew, like, most of the things we were learning. Like, there was a couple of gems that I found to be really, like, really helping. I found, like, a couple of things that I learned that was really, like, good things to know about when it comes to working out, for me specifically, that helped me. But a lot of the education I already knew, but that was fine. Like, that's not the entire thing. And this is why I think I'm probably gonna take back saying that I love learning things online specifically. Not because I don't, because I do love to learn things online, but actually I think I like to learn them more in real life, which isn't that weird. But, like, I made friends in that education that I'm gonna be stuck with it. Like, I'm not getting away. No, but, like, we have a group chat. Cheesy enough, it's called, like, Dream Squad, Dream Team, some shit like that. And I think we're 5 people? Am I missing someone? I don't want to miss someone here. Let me think. I think we're far. Well, we're 6 people, but one of them isn't as active as the other ones. But 6 people with me included, and 5 people that are mostly active. And these people I'm gonna have, like, they're a lot older than me. Most of them, not actually, not a lot, but a couple years at least. And like, these are friends I'm gonna have for life, like, for sure. These are, like, really driven people, intelligent people, and honestly, like, some of the most fascinating people I've ever met, which is kind of, like, interesting, right? Because I met them through personal training, even though most of us don't even do that. Like, we don't work as a personal trainer. 2 of them do. One of them, she uses her license for her work, most likely. Well, she definitely does, but she's not, like, technically just a normal personal trainer. She has her own company and stuff. But basically, these people are, like, the most driven people I've ever met in real life. Like, obviously, I have other people online that I've met that are really driven and stuff like that, but meeting them in real life and talking to them every single day for, like, not every single day actually, but a lot of days in the week and for a long time, and we got a lot of time to talk. It makes you realize how fucking insanely smart these people are. Like, the guy that I hope I'm gonna have as a co-host for doing this podcast, that was not proper English grammar right there, but to do this podcast, he doesn't have work right now. And I usually say, like, when I was explaining to my girlfriend who this person was, I basically said he was like me, but 7 years older, and have a little bit more. He's a little bit more of an adrenaline junkie. That's basically exactly how he is, like, his personality wise. It was fucking insane, and we're both pretty lazy. So both of us don't have jobs right now, and he's actually studying just, like, a tiny bit on the side to be able to get, like, I don't know if you have this in other countries, but in Sweden actually, if you do your high school education, you actually get paid about $120 a month just to do the education, which I know for people that comes from the US is gonna sound like fucking insane, because it is to some degree. And just saying, my camera's gonna die, so I'm gonna have to, like, start up again, because it's been 30 minutes, and for some reason okay, there we go. Yeah, for some reason my camera has a timer where it stops recording after 30 minutes. But basically what I was saying is that you actually get paid about $120 a month to do the education. And you don't have to actually do the entire education. You can just do some different, like, variations of it, basically. So I jumped out of high school pretty much. And high school in Sweden is something different, but I'm just referring to it as high school because it's, like, more universally understandable. But basically, so it's really funny because I was just talking about doing that. Like, I was talking with my girlfriend about, like, I really need a job at the moment, or I need money for some things, but I don't need a lot of money. And, like, I could go back to school full time, but also I'm no use in getting that degree, so it doesn't matter. And also I don't want to go to school full time because I want to be able to do this as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something called komvux in Swedish, which means basically you're studying even though you're done with school. I'm not gonna explain the entire thing, but basically you still get the money and you don't do a lot of schoolwork. I was just talking about doing that, and then when I was pitching this idea of doing the podcast to this friend I have who's, like, legit like me but 7 years older than me, he was already doing it, which I find fucking hilarious. Like, he's doing the exact same thing I'm gonna do. And it's just insane how similar we are, even though we're different. In some areas, we're really fucking different, which is good, because if we were the same person, I would fucking probably hate him, because like you get really annoyed at yourself a lot of the time. But yeah, like in general, it's if this works out and we get to do this podcast, you're gonna see, like in the videos, it's so fun. Like he's so interesting, and like all the other people in the group is also interesting. And if we do get this podcast running, the thing is, it's not just gonna be us, obviously. Like, yeah, for sure, there's gonna be episodes where it's just us. Probably in the beginning, it's gonna be just us. But we're also gonna get guests, for sure. And those guests are definitely gonna be some of the other people from this group we have on Instagram called Dream Squad. I'm pretty sure it's Dream Squad, not Dream Team. Have to talk about that with them, because it seems like you should be called Dream Team and not Dream Squad, but who knows. But the other people don't have as much time as we do right now, because they're full blown in work. Like full-time PT or part-time PT owns a store and works at another store as well. So one guy full-time PT, one guy part-time PT, owns his own store and also works at another store, so basically has 3 jobs. And then our friend, the only girl in the group, she has her own company that just got backing from the state, which is fucking insane, by the way. We went out to dinner for that like a couple months back. And yeah, it's just so fun and it's so interesting. And she also she also managed to get into school, which is fucking like, the acceptance rate is like 5%. It's fucking insane. And somehow she has to balance being able to do both. But it's really fucking like, they're all so interesting people. Like the most interesting people I've ever met. And I don't think they realize how like highly I view them. Because I'm not that good at explaining or like expressing myself when it comes to these things. I'm not. Because I'm like emotionally pretty cold as a person. And it's way easier when you get this sort of format where you're just, well, right now I'm just talking to the camera, so it's not that hard. But also, if we were just talking for hours in a row, like I think it would be easier for them to understand in that way. And I'm pretty bad at listening. Obviously, for me talking like this, I have to be bad at listening. You have to compensate. But I'm a pretty perceptive person in that I tend to realize how people feel a lot, or how they view me. Even though, like, for sure I've definitely been wrong a couple of times, but more often than not, I'm not. So I know that they might, like, I don't want to, like, toot my own horn too much here. Let me see how I'm gonna, like, formulate this. I know that they view me a similar way to how I view them, which is what makes this such an interesting, like, friendship, really. Because, like, I'm other friends, love my other friends, fucking, like, it's nothing like that, but it's very different in the way we, like, act and how we do things. Like, there's some friends, most of my friends, I would definitely 100%, if they call me at 3 a.m, I'll, like, I can't drive, I was gonna say get in a car, I would get to them somehow and help them if they need my help. I don't know that all of them would do the same back towards me in the same situation, depending on, but I do know that these people I was talking about here in Dream Squad definitely would. And also that it's such a, like, it's a weird thing, because how am I gonna say this? It's a weird thing because it comes out of such a positive place, which sounds fucked up. Does everything else come from a negative place? No, not really. But it comes from, like, most of my other friends I have from school. School is great, but also we didn't like school, so it's not like a positive thing from the start. It is now, but it doesn't start off like that. But when we came to this academy where we were trying to better ourselves and learning how to be personal trainers, we all love working out, which is positive in its own right. And we all wanted to get better, and we actually wanted to learn. Like, the people in that room wanted to learn what the teacher was saying, which is way different compared to school. In school, you don't give a fuck. All you do is fucking listen. Okay, what can I do to get good enough grades to just manage to fucking pass by? You don't give a shit about actually learning the things. Like, some people do. Yeah, cool. Like, you figured that shit out way earlier than I did. That's fucking good. Like, keep on doing that shit. But when it really came to it, like, for me in school, I was always the guy who, if I liked the subject, I'm getting an A every time. Every single time. Super easy, not hard at all. If I liked it, I'm gonna get an A. Best grade I can get. If I don't like it, I have a really fucking hard time even getting, like, passing grade. It's so hard. And, you know, in school, most of the things you're not gonna actually like doing, so that doesn't work out too well. But when I came to that, like, to the academy, where I want to learn about training, and I fucking love working out and training, it's all I want to do. I want to just learn more. And everyone else in that room was the same, and especially these people in this group. And it just became such a weird, in a weird way, even though a good way, weird in a good way, like, positive thing where it's like we all want to just get better at shit. And wow, I sound like I'm in a fucking cult right now, which I am. Working out for sure is a cult. If you haven't worked out yet, just come with us. It's fine. You're gonna feel a lot better. You're gonna be a lot stronger. You're gonna look better. It's fine. Just come here. It's no problem. Just come here. Just work out. Just work out. It's fine. It's fine. Yes. Just to be honest, truly is a cult. I'm not joking about that part. Like, if you get into it, you're fucked. You're not getting out. But also, in my case at least, it's a cult I want to be part of. So, yeah, it's just, yeah. I'm gonna, like, I would be able to ramble on for, like, way too long right now. Because I said I was gonna do this for 30 minutes, but I've done this for probably about 50 minutes at this point. And I don't know if I'm gonna edit this. Like, maybe a little bit, but not really, because I want to keep this sort of as an actual podcast. For everyone who's watched till this point, you're the real fucking people. Like, I care about you. I truly do. I'm fucking super appreciative. If you just skip to this part, fuck you. You don't count into what I'm saying right now. Okay, watch the whole thing through. Okay, good. But if you truly did watch through this shit, I really truly do appreciate you. And I know a lot of people say this and you're gonna think I'm bullshitting, because I did when I was watching other YouTubers saying the exact same thing I'm doing right now, but I realized that they weren't. I truly do appreciate every single one of you that watched this, and definitely that watched the entire thing up until this point. And I don't say that enough. And I probably never will, because, as I said, pretty shit explaining expressing my emotions and shit like that. But I do appreciate you, and I really, like, if you watch till this point, you're a real, like, true, I don't want to call it fan. I would probably, like, say friend, maybe. What would you guys want to be called? I don't want, like, a fan name. That's not what I'm saying, but, like, maybe, like, a true supporter? Is that better than a fan? I don't know. I think the word fan becomes, like, I don't know. I don't like saying I have fans, because I don't. Like, you're not fans, you're more, I don't know. I'll say supporter for now. What I'm saying is that if you watch the entire thing, fucking thank you, dude. And also, please tell me in the comments that you watched the entire thing, and also if you want the podcast to stay on this channel, or if I should move it over and do it on another channel, because no fucking clue. But other than that, guys, I'll see you in whatever the fuck I do next. Peace.